Hey guys, John here from Team Blind MST. I've got a deck profile for everyone. It's something that people have been asking for. It's something I haven't done in quite a while. There's been a resounding movement amongst my friends and amongst certain people on the channel for me to start playing Ritual Beasts. This is not a Ritual Beast profile. Don't be disappointed in that. I played Ritual Beast at the OTS on Saturday. It went pretty well. I made it to the top 8. Really, the only thing I really lost to was Burning Abyss, just because I opened super bad. But that's a really good deck. I will have that profile on the way. But right now, I'm actually at my cousin's house. We leave for Pennsylvania in the morning, so I just really couldn't put too much time into the channel. We're trying really hard to come back and get to it, but just Brian and Dan work midnights now, so it's really hard for us to all get together. So that's why I'm on my own for this one. But anyways. Gravekeepers, yes, that's going back to my roots. A lot of people have been posting on the original video, like the old video from the first time I won OTS Day, asking for an update Gravekeepers build, and that was before Shadal's came out, that was before Clifford's came out, that was a long time ago. So this is like the newest version I'm working on. I think it holds up against the meta right now. The only thing that I really have trouble with is, I guess, Cliff Forts. Someone was asking me in the Zodiac group how you can build Gravekeepers to get over Cliff Forts, and I never really thought about it, but it's just a really hard deck because your opponent, midway through a duel, your opponent can top deck one of 9 cards and just instantly win. So I'm really happy with this build. It does decently against Cliff Forts, Burning Abyss, Shadal's, Spiritual Beasts. It even does well against Necros. I don't know if people really know this, but Necrovalley really hurts Necros. Not only can they not recycle their mirrors, but they can't Velk you. It's just amazing. But anyways, here's the build. I'm just gonna now hop right into it. I run triple Gravekeeper Spy. Obviously, she really gets the deck going. It's how you generate all your advantage. Before, the best opening play was to open with Spy, just set Spy, set back row, activate Necrovalley, and pass. Now that she's not the only really good opening play the deck has, but she's still one of the best ones. This is how you get real steam going. This is how you get real advantage. If you open up Spy. If you open up the right combination of cards, and you can set Spy and use a Battle Trap or a Fiendish Chain or something to make sure that the Spy lives, so you can flip her on your turn. You can easily OTK now. So definitely 3 Spy, always 3 Spy. Then I run triple Recruiter. This is a card that I've been going back and forth with a lot in a lot of my builds. I decided that 2 was kind of the best number for him for a really long time, but the way that this deck is. With this current build and this current meta, you need 3 recruiters, or at least I feel you need 3 recruiters. This card interacts really well with Mass Change Second, which I run now. Obviously, Dark Law is really fucking strong. So, with Recruiter now, I can first turn set Tomb, summon Recruiter, set Mass Change Second, activate Necrovalley, and on my opponent's turn, I can send Recruiter to bring out Dark Law, and then I get the search off Recruiter. So it's really strong. Also, I only run 14 monsters in this deck, 2 of them which are Commandant, so those are technically Necrovalleys anyways. So it's really important that I need to be able to search for the ones I want. This deck actually runs 41 cards, so which isn't a big deal because I thin and search so much, but at the same time, to cut back on monsters, I only run one of the ones I only need to essentially search for, or use twice, I guess, because any monster I can use twice because of Stele, pretty commonly. So Recruiter's huge. Then I run 2 Commandants. Reason being for this is you really want to see Necrovalley first turn, but after you see the first Commandant, you don't want to see a second Commandant. It's not terrible if you do, but once you get that first Commandant, you can just pitch it for Necrovalley, Stele it back, pitch it again. Now 2 Necrovalleys, you've thinned your deck, but you definitely run at least 2 because he's still a really big beat stick, and he searches for Necrovalley. Necrovalley.deck. Then I run 1 Assailant because she is amazing. She gets over so much stuff that your opponent just doesn't see coming. She goes up to 2,000 with Necrovalley on the field, which gets over a lot of stuff in itself, and then she can change the attack position of a monster when she attacks, which is huge considering there's very few things in the game that have more than 2,000 attack and defense. So it's just an out to a lot of issues. Also puts in more damage if your opponent special summons something in defense. Sorry. Your special summons a big monster in defense. She really just lets you get down to it. Also, you don't have to change the battle position of the monster that you're attacking. So like if your opponent has a weak monster, say if your opponent has a weak monster in attack position or whatever, and they have another one in defense position, for whatever reason you just want to switch that battle position so you can do more damage and you can target that one instead. You just have to attack and then target any of them. So that's something that a lot of people don't know, and it catches people off guard. And then one Gravekeeper's Descendant. It's really good because it gets you out of things like the Djinn lock. It pops out of pretty much anything Necros put on board. It's not very good against Ritual Beast, but who really cares? It just, you need him at 1. I wouldn't run him at 2 because you don't really need 2 of them. And like I said, him and Assailant, I just run them both at 1 because when I need them, I can search for them, or I can special summon them, and once they're in the grave, I can just keep Steling them back. So I really don't need to run 2 of them, and there's not that much room in the deck. So, and then I run, for the last of the Gravekeeper's monsters, I run 1 Shaman. I was really debating whether or not to main deck this card. Ultimately, I decided to because she just wins games against things like Mermails and Burning Abyss and Shaddolls that like need those grave effects. She stops the Necros, the mirrors from searching. She just stops so much. So, and she protects Necrovalley. So she's just really good, especially since you can just summon her off spy. I would never run her at 2. I hated main decking her before because I really hated opening her against decks that she didn't just stop. It was really hard for me to drop her first turn, but with this build I can actually drop her first turn. And Necrovalley, GK Shaman, and Dark Law is really fucking real against a lot of decks if you just get all 3 of those out at the same time. Yeah, so I definitely run her at 1. And then personally, like one of the best techs that I feel I've ever made in Gravekeepers, it just speeds up the deck so much. Lets me run Shaman, lets me drop first turn Shaman, lets me side deck triple Vanity's Fiend without having to side in Monarch Stormforth. Just amazing card in this deck. Dynatherium. It's a free special summon. It's a level 4. It's 1600 attack, so it's not terrible. It can help you OTK. I'm assuming a lot of people know what this does, but the only people that really run it, Cliffforts run it, and in the side, and Infinities used to run it. But what it does is you special summon it from your hand, and your opponent can special summon a monster from either of your graveyards, level 4 or lower. Actually, I think it has to be exactly level 4. One level 4 monster in either of your graveyards to the field. Well, the beautiful thing about Dynatherium in this deck is Necrovalley says no to their special summon, so you literally just get a level 4 monster for free. I can special summon them and tribute them for Shaman. I can special summon them and tribute it for Majesty's Fiends when I side it in. Vanity's Fiends, sorry. Either one. I don't side Majesty's Fiends right now, but in some formats I do. And he's a free rank 4 play. And what I really like about him is I run him at 3. The deck's 41 cards. If I was going to cut a card, I would definitely cut the 3rd Dynatherium, like if I just had to make that decision right now. However, I wouldn't do it because this card's not bad to open 2 of. You can still normal summon him. So if you open 2 of him, that's just a rank 4 monster. The only time that this card's ever dead is if you don't have Necrovalley, in which case you're doing something wrong, or in which case it's not dead, they just get the special summons to know you have something else you have to overcome. But if you're exitaning or something like that, it doesn't make a difference, or if you open all 3 of them. But even if you open all 3 of them, that's not the end of the world because that's a free rank 4 play, and then next turn that's possibly another free rank 4 play. So it's really good. I like it a lot. I like it a lot actually. Great chart. Great thing. That's it for the monsters. Like I said, that's 14 monsters. 2 of them which are Commandants, which are basically just Necrovalleys. Onto the spells. I run, of course, where are they at? Triple Necrovalley. There's not really a reason to explain this. I would never run 2. Actually, I had a build that ran 2, but you just want it at 3. It stops Necros. It's just really good, and you need it for your monsters for the attack damage. Triple Necrovalley. 2 MST. Mystical Space Typhoon's a really good card. The only reason I run 2 of them is because against Necros it's not that great. However, Cliffforts it's amazing against, and every other deck in the meta, or in rogue decks, it's just really good. So definitely main deck at least 2. I side the 3rd. If I found room, I would main the 3rd. But like I said, I'm trying to be competitive with this, so I have to be able to go toe-to-toe with Necros, and I just can't afford to have a bunch of MSTs in my hand. Then I run 2 Gravekeeper Steles. Amazing card. In the mid-game, it just generates so much of your advantage. You can grab a... If I open this and Spy and a Commandant, I'm in really good shape. Just because then I summon Spy, off the Spy, summon Recruiter or whatever, and then I can have access to everything in my deck. I can get them all back. If I need to thin out my deck, or if I just want extra Necrovalleys, I can grab that Commandant back, pitch it again immediately. Like, Stele is amazing. Amazing, amazing, amazing. I would definitely run it at 2. I wouldn't run it at 3 because it's too cloggy. I wouldn't run it at 1 because you need it. I wouldn't run it at 0 because if you run it at 0, you're doing something really fucking wrong with this deck. I feel like 2 is the perfect number for this card. Then running Royal Tribute. Yep, it's back. I stopped running Royal Tribute when Shaddolls and Burning Abyss were like a real thing. Now I really don't care about Shaddolls or Burning Abyss that much. Like, they're not that big of issues, but this absolutely murders Necros. Like, oh my, I first turn Royal Tributed someone for 5 cards. Like, it's very common. That deck is all monsters that search for other monsters. So Royal Tribute, definitely run it. I side it out a lot of times. Sometimes I even side it out against decks it's good against, because it's just like, it's a one-up that's conditional, but I would definitely run this card right now. Then I run triple Pot of Duality. I don't run 2 because opening more than 1 in this deck isn't terrible. Pot of Duality is amazing in this build because I can pot digging for either... Ideally with this deck now, I want to open up either the old combo of like Spy, Back Row, and Necrovalley, or I want to open up Recruiter, Necrovalley, and Mass Change second. And this doesn't affect that at all because I can set the Mass Change second and then just activate it on their turn and get the special summon off then. So Pot of Duality is really, really good, especially digging for that Royal Tribute, because I want to first turn Royal Tribute every game if possible. So definitely triple Pot of Duality. Then for the one-offs, I run a Book of Moon, Snatch Steal, and Raigeki. All 3 of these cards steal games. This is the most overpowered minus in the entire game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, the best neg one, hands down. And both these cards just absolutely steal games, so definitely running those 3 one-offs. And then I run 2 Mass Change seconds. 3's too much. 1's not enough. Running at 2, I just always have it when I need it. I never draw into multiple copies of it. If I do, like, that just... I mean, it's bound to happen. It's just bad luck. But card's amazing. Card interacts amazingly with Gravekeeper's Recruiter, like I said. It gives me access. It lets me OTK harder because it's literally just puts more damage up sometimes. I actually run a Master Hero Kamikaze, or I think she's called Divine Wind now, to power this off of Dynatherium because he's a wind, to put more damage up. I run the Earth one, Dion, off of Commandant if I need to, just to put more damage up. And also, it lets me do some interesting plays with Acid that people don't see coming, because I can make an Abyss Dweller, or I still side 2 Ice Hand. So, card's just amazing. Like, this Dark Law in this deck really lets it compete against the meta. I put a Dark Law on board against Cliff Forts, it just sacks them so hard, especially if they don't see it coming. It's just amazing. And to the traps, I run 3 one-offs. I run 1 Solemn Warning. Absolutely have to. I won 1 Bottomless. I think it's really good now. And I run 1 Tomb of Necrovalley. The reason I don't run 2 is, well, 1, I don't have space, and I never really want to see more than 1 of these a game. When I see it, it almost always helps me win the game, but at the same time, I don't need it to win the game. So it's just I really like it at 1. If Solemn Warning came to 2, I would probably just run another Solemn Warning instead, but it's basically an extra Solemn Warning for me. Or if I need to, like, stop an MST for Necrovalley or something like that. Then I run double Mirror Force. Mirror Force is amazing. Wouldn't run 3 of it, but against things like Yosenju's, Mirror Force just dominates. If you resolve a Mirror Force against them, you pretty much win. Cliff Forts, it's really good, especially if they attack. And I was playing against Cliff Forts, and they attacked into a Recruiter. I Mass Change second it, or I Mirror Force and changed Mass Change second. So I got the search off Recruiter, I summoned Dark Law, and their whole field of monsters got banished, and they scooped. Like, it was it. I don't think they picked up. I think they thought they could win still, but there really wasn't any coming. It's just too big. This card's really good right now. It's a lot better than Deep Prison, in my opinion. Then I run triple Fiendish Chain. This deck doesn't really benefit from Breakthrough Skill that much because you can't banish it from the graveyard, and sometimes I want my Spy. I want to flip Spy on my own terms. I want to flip it on my turn. I don't want my opponent to flip my Spy crashing into it. Sometimes I just need to stop attacks to protect Descendants. I just really like Fiendish Chain deck. Run it at 3. Monster effects are still real as hell. And then I run triple Vanity's Emptiness. This is the card that lets rogue decks compete with the meta, in all honesty. I definitely run it at 3 in this deck. Sometimes I side it out against very specific decks like Yosenju, but Vanity's Emptiness is amazing. Definitely running it at 3. So that's the main deck. It's 41 cards. Like I said, if you wanted to, you could cut a Dynatherium, but I feel like this deck can easily get away with running 41 cards. I feel most decks can get away with running 41 cards right now, and I feel like it's better to have those cards in your deck than to not have them in there. It doesn't change the odds that much. I know the extra deck. I run 1 Heartland Draco. It's really good in some circumstances. Sometimes you just need the extra damage. Sometimes you need to attack over something. Sometimes you make a big push for game and your opponent has like 1,200 left. Well, Cowboy's not going to get it done, whatever. And but you have Necrovalley up, so you just make this, and then next turn you attack if you have to. Or sometimes your opponent knows that you can't Cowboy them, so they just put really defensive monsters up that can't be destroyed by battle, or have ridiculously high defenses, and you just go into Draco and attack over for a game. Like, it's just really good. Silent Anarch. I run 1 Silent Anarch. I also run a Castell. I don't need to explain why Castell is good, but I feel running the Silent Anarch over the second Castell because against certain decks like Necros, I don't want their monster to hit the graveyard. I don't want their monster to be shuffled back into the deck. So Castell just lets me sometimes eat a monster that they could be using for fodder for one of their abilities in the graveyard and just keep it. Reign of Zero is really good against a lot of decks, anything that runs Tenki. Carnagon helps protect my Necrovalley and other stuff. Master Key Beetle, same thing. Master Key Beetle lock on Necrovalley and a Vanities, or a Vanities and a Dark Law is GG against some decks. Ulti Cowboy because it burns for 2,000, GG. Exciton Knight, you still need it. It brings you back out of games. Sometimes a lot of these decks nowadays can just really gain a ton of advantage. Exciton lets rogue decks equal the playing field, really. Abyss Dweller, really good. It's a target for Mass Change second to go into Mass Hero Acid, just blow out opponents. And then 1 Crazy Box for any deck that runs Skill Drain. If I was going to cut anything, this would probably be the first thing to get cut, but this extra deck has a ton of space. So, then on to the fusions. I run double Dark Law. 3 really isn't necessary. I definitely wouldn't just want to run 1. I only run 2 Mass Change second, so I don't see a scenario where I would ever be making the 3rd one anyways. But this card's really good. Anything, it stops that search. It doesn't stop the search, but it stops them from getting so much advantage off the search. I've had like ridiculously lucky things where sometimes like they'll search a card just for the sake of searching a card, and I'll end up banishing the card that was actually important to their hand anyways, or just things like that. And of course, Macrocosmos for your opponent is just OP. And then I run Dian and Divine Wind. These are pretty much only for like pushing for more damage and OTKing with Mass Change second. Dian's pretty much just a beat stick. I'd never resolve her actual effect. And Kamikaze actually has a really good effect. It's like an Air Knight Parachute where if I destroy a monster, I can draw a card. Can't be destroyed by battle, and your opponent can only attack with once a turn. So this card's actually really good. I just 9 times out of 10 I'm using it is for just the extra 2,700 attack. And then finally, Mass Hero Acid, because like I said, I can just blow up my opponent, go to Abyss Dweller, make sure the Grave effects don't... Against Burning, I was playing against Burning Abyss, and I went into Abyss Dweller, activated his effects so their Grave effects couldn't activate. And he didn't... He chained... He had 2 more back row. One of them was like a Phoenix Wing, and one was an Emptiness, and the other one... It wasn't an Emptiness. I don't remember what the other 2 were. But he Phoenix Winged the Abyss Dweller, and then I just Mass Change second and Acid and hit the other 2 cards, and there was no coming back for him from there. Really good. I also, as you'll see, I side 2 Ice Hands still, so when I side in the Ice Hands, and then I can make this play and just super blow up my opponent. Onto the side deck. This is still a really big work in progress. I haven't really had a lot of time to play test this in real life. I've had a little bit of opportunity, but very, very minimal. Basically, I've been playing the shit out of it online. I haven't really been able to make it to tournaments much. I'm not even going to get to go to the regional this weekend. That's kind of why I wanted to get this profile out there for you guys now. Granted, I probably would have played Ritual Beast this Saturday anyways, but this is a deck that just I feel like I just needed to get it out there. I'm really comfortable with this build, and I've had people specifically ask for Gravekeeper. So to start off, 2 ice hands and 2 fire hands. I wouldn't run right side 3 and 3. I mean, there's not enough room in the side deck anyways, but you just don't need 3 and 3. You don't really side them in against too much. It's just really, really good against. It just, you know when it's good. Like you know when decks are hurt by these, and especially Rogue. So these are really good at locals. I don't know how often they would actually come into the regional. 2 shared rides. You just slow down Necros. Sometimes they'll push through the search. Sometimes they'll just get the 1 search off the Unicorn and stop. When they do the regular combo, you end up drawing like 4 or 5 cards if they push through it. So shared ride's really good. Also against Ritual Beasts. Then to go with those shared rides, I run double Mind Crush. The idea is if they're going to search a bunch, then you'll draw in a Mind Crush or have a Mind Crush set, and you'll just Mind Crush the important thing. After that, of course, I run the 3rd MST. You know me, always have 3 MSTs in the deck somewhere. Then to go with those 3 MSTs, I run Triple Twister. At the OTS day, it was actually kind of funny. At the OTS day, I opened playing Ritual Beast, but just to show how good Twister is, I opened double Twister and 1 other back row. I think it was a Vanities, and my opponent was playing Cliff Forts, and he had double skill drain. And as long as those skill drains resolved, he was pretty much gonna beat me. And he knew it. I knew it. That's kind of why I sided these in. And he prohibitions Mystical Space Typhoon and passed his turn, and I just kind of laughed. And then when my turn came around, I summoned and started to like do my loop, and he's like, skill drain. I'm like, all right, Twister. And he's like, okay, skill drain. I'm like, all right, other Twister. It was just really funny. It was just really funny that he prohibition MST knowing that those skill drains had to live, and the 2 Twisters came in. Absolutely love that card. And then to round it off, triple Vanity's Fiend. I side these in against Necros. I actually side out a lot against Necros. I side out 1 in the Emptiness. I side out. Man, it's so hard. It's so hard to do right now. It's kind of just one of those things where when you're playing against them, you just kind of like, oh, well, I don't really need this, I don't really need that. With Dynatherium, this is really live. I can put this first turn, no problem. They can pretty easily get over 1 Vanity's Fiend with all the searching that they do, but it's kind of hard for them to get over the second one, especially since they can't pull things back from the grave. So that's this deck. Gravekeepers for the Necros format. I'm really happy with it. Like I said, you could, if you wanted to, cut the 3rd Dynatherium to bring it down to 40 cards, but I just don't think it's necessary. As always, if you guys have any questions, if you have any comments, if you want to tell me I'm stupid, if you want to give me any suggestions, just, post down in the comments, and I will do my best to get back with them. Sorry if this is kind of hasty or lower in quality than our profiles usually are, but like I said, I don't really have much time, and I haven't really played with this specific build in actual tournaments too much, so you know how everything changes. But anyways, thanks for watching, guys. John, signing out.